Most people think investing has to be complicated constant trading, watching the market, making perfect moves, just timing the market. But the truth is, the portfolios that win long term are usually the simplest and the most boring. In this video, I'm going to show you the beginner friendly ETF portfolio that requires almost no maintenance, no constant buying and selling, no guesswork, no wondering if there's going to be NAV erosion, just simple structure designed to grow over time and let compounding do the heavy lifting. A set it and forget it type portfolio. And I'll give you a couple alternatives so we can compare three different simple portfolios. And I'll also show you why most people overcomplicate this and how that mistake quietly costs them thousands of dollars. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Simply Money. Today we're going to be looking at a beginner-friendly portfolio. This is a set it and forget it type of portfolio. We're going to look at three different sets of portfolios, all very similar with different funds, and we're going to compare the outcomes of those. The first one I want to start with, and we're looking at our Simply Money Portfolio Planner. If you like this planner, you can get a copy of it down below in the description at Buy Me a Coffee. All of our spreadsheets are available there. What we have here is we have the tickers that we're going to be looking at. I have them set up here in three different portfolios. The first portfolio is VOO, MSCI, BND, and IBIT. And you can see as you come over here, I put that in the conservative portfolio. This isn't necessarily conservative, moderate, or aggressive, but I'm using these three on this planner so we can compare them side by side. What this is designed for is you could have up to 10 tickers and you can allocate differently to make it more aggressive to see how it compares, and a lot of different things you can do with this spreadsheet. But what I'm doing here is I'm making three different portfolios. They just happen to fall under these three categories. So that's the first portfolio. We have it allocated 65% in VOO, 20% in MSCI, 10% in BND, and 5% in IBIT. The second portfolio over here in the moderate, we have VTI with 70%, VXUS set at 20%, and then BND at 10%. And we're starting this out with $100,000 in each of these. So you can see this portfolio has 100, 100, and $100,000 there. The third portfolio I'm going with here is SCHG, SCHF, and SCHD. The reason these are all in here, they all are indexes. They're set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about things. They kind of balance themselves, and they have very low expense ratios. All of them have very, very low expenses, which is good. So this last one, we have 60% in SCHG, 20% in SCHF, and 20% in SCHD. And again, you could go in and change even within these three different ones, the percent that you have in the positions of each of those, and you can play around with that. So we have those three. As you can see, we're going to do it for 20 years and see with $100,000 invested in each of these portfolios, how they're set up, what would it look like? In order to do that, we want to come over here to the forecast, and we're going to start with the conservative. So the conservative, again, is these first four tickers. And if you want to pick other tickers, if you haven't seen this before, you just click here. And I have a ton of tickers there. And I have people, when they buy it, they ask, hey, can you add this ticker? And I'll add those in because I don't have every ticker out there. So if there's some you want, I can add those in for you. Just give me a few days once you make that request. On the forecast, we have our conservative chosen for that first portfolio. And we're just going to go down here to the 20-year mark at the end of 20 years. As we look at that, you have right here, you're looking at about $1 million. The income is about $1,100 if you're taking the distributions. This isn't about income. This is about just a portfolio that you set and you forget it. So remember that number, about $1 million on the conservative. Now, the second portfolio we have here is the VTI, VXUS, and BND. So go back to the forecast, choose moderate. And as you can see, that one did much better, 2.5, almost $2.6 million. and it's generating about $3,700 a month in income if you chose to take that income. Or if you were looking to sell shares, this is again not about an income play. This is just about growth and where we're at and the ease of these funds. That is the second one. So you have 1 million versus 2.6. And these three funds, just simply the total stock market, international market, and then some bonds. And the third fund we have is the Schwab players here, the SCHG, SCHF, and SCHD. So we come over here, we switch this to aggressive, and that one did better than the moderate, did better than the first portfolio, not quite as well as the second. You're looking at about 1.9 million with about $2,500 a month of income. You have those three, and I want you to hold on. This is where it's going to get interesting. We're going to zero this out and starting from zero, because a lot of people watch us and they're like, I don't have 500,000. I don't have 100,000. I want to see what it's like to start from zero. And we're going to do that here in a second. But I want to pull your attention to this. All of these, any of these funds we look at, other videos when we do this, you have to remember this is taking the averages on past data. We don't know what it's going to do in the future. This is not financial advice. This is for informational and educational purposes only. You're going to have to do your own due diligence and know all investments come with risk. And know that when you take averages, you're just going up, 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 up every month over month. That's not how the stock market works. Just recently in my own portfolio, I watched it drop drastically, and then I watched it shoot up to an all time high as the market rebounded. The averages will work out, but it's going to be a roller coaster on the way. And I want you to keep that in mind. That's less important in this scenario we just did, where you put a lump sum in and then it goes up and down, but it averages out after 20 years. With the next scenario, what we're going to do, we're going to keep all of these exactly the same, but we're going to start with zero. We have nothing to invest. We're still going to go for 20 years, but then we have to come over to this deposit rules. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the conservative. We're going to put $500 a month in, starting in month one, and we're going to put it in those same allocations. So 65% goes to VU, 20% to MSCI, 10% to BND, and 5% to IBIT. That's the only thing we're going to be doing is we're starting from zero with $500 a month. This would look very different in the real world scenario, because when you're dollar cost averaging, when it dips, you're going to get more shares at those lower prices. And if you're consistent, that's what happens. And then when it's high, like right now, as of the recording this, the market is at some all time highs and you're going to get fewer shares. But that's what dollar cost averaging does. I have a video I've done. You can type in dollar cost averaging on the channel and you'll find a video on that, and it shows the power of dollar cost averaging. I encourage you to check that out. What we're going to do now, instead of coming over to forecast, we still have to come here just to change what fund we're looking at. So we're going to start with the conservative, but then you come to the Forecast Pro. This is the tab you use when you're using the rules. The deposit rules over here, you can set up to 10 of those. I have 3 of them set right now. We're doing the same thing, and I'll just switch it. So we're going from the first rule is for the first portfolio. The second rule is the second portfolio. The third rule will be the third portfolio. You can change this up. A lot of things you can do with this to play with it. I'm doing it this way just for ease of this video. But starting out, we're adding $500 a month for 20 years. Go to the Forecast Pro. At the end of 20 years, you can see you've accumulated $628,000. So think about that. If you are new to investing and you're like, yeah, I don't just know what it's going to look like, I don't know what I'm doing. These types of portfolios, these very simple, diversified portfolios that you set and forget, that have low expense ratios, these are great portfolios for you to just get started and to be consistent, because long term that compounding works. $500 a month after 20 years turns into $628,000 on the first portfolio. Now remember, the first portfolio with the lump sum did the worst. The second did the best, and then the third did pretty well, but not quite as well as the second. Let's go back to the forecast. We'll change this to our second model, our second portfolio. just to refresh your memory there, that's the VTI, VXUS, and BND. We also need to make sure we come over here. We're changing this. We're not putting anything in the first portfolio. Now we're putting the $500 a month in the second portfolio. When you come to the Forecast Pro, you'll see here at the year 20, you have $1.1 million. So $500 a month for 20 years based on past performance, you would be looking at $1.1 million. And that is a pretty nice outcome for that. Now let's go to our third portfolio. Again, we want to change the portfolio, the deposit rules. We're doing 0 on that one. Now we're putting 500 in the third portfolio. Come to the forecast, change it to the model, which is under the aggressive, and come to the Forecast Pro, and you're looking at $769,000. So the same pattern held. The first portfolio did not do as well. The second did way better, and the third did okay, did better than the first, not quite as well as the second. Now, again, you could come over here and you could change the percentages even within these three funds here. And the three funds here, you could put 70% SCHG and 15 and 15 or 20 and 10, however you want to do that. And you can play around with it and see which one you feel more comfortable with. I just went with some typical averages on these types of portfolios. You can see the yields are basically the same on all of them. The average appreciation, again, this is based on past performance. That's why the second portfolio did much better and the third did decent as well. Again, you can change these up. You can change the deposit rules. Something else we can do is maybe you're 25 years old and you're like, hey, I have more than 20 years. We can go up to, let's say we're going to 30 years. So you can change that and come back over here. We'll just go to the last one and we come down to 30 years. And you can see that when we come down here, the end of 30 years, we're looking at $3.6 million on that fund. And you can go through and change this to all of the different funds like we just did for 30 years. And so you can imagine what the second fund would look like. You have a lot of options. So I can hear people now, why didn't you do the second fund? So we're going to do that right now. The second fund, go there, change the rule to where we're funding the second fund. Change which portfolio we're looking at, the moderate, and let's see what 30 years, look at that, $7 million. That's the power of compounding. See what that extra 10 years did? You younger folks, that is why it's so important, even if it's only $50 or $100 a month, whatever it is, start early, because that money you put in early is going to grow so much more every year you start. If you wait till you're 30, wait till you're 40, you've lost the most powerful tool you have for your wealth building, and that's compounding. This is a basic portfolio setup for beginners, easy to use, easy to set it and forget it. There's other funds you could look at. These aren't set in stone. This isn't what I'm saying, buy these or this one or that one. I'm just showing you different portfolios. You could even do a mix and match of these or others. But this shows you the power of those types of portfolios and how easy they are, because you don't have to go in. When those that watch the income videos we do, you got to wonder, do I drip it? Do I half drip it? What percent do I drip? I have to keep an eye on the NAV. Should I put the money back in or allocate it somewhere else? With these, it's you just keep depositing money each and every paycheck, each and every month, and let that compounding do the work. That's our video for today. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time on Simply Money.